In finalizing, I have two messages. The one goes to Moscow and to President Putin. The message is quite simple. We will not give up. And dear friends, my second message goes to Washington, D.C. and to President Donald Trump. Stay with us and stay with the Europeans. We are on the same page, and we are looking for a stable political order in this world. We are both, the Americans and the Europeans, are part of with us. Stay with us on this side and on this page of our common history. Many thanks, dear colleagues and friends.
This is my video update on this Thursday afternoon, July the 10th, coming to you from Moscow. Let's talk about some news, and let's start things off with the Ukraine Recovery Conference, which is taking place in Rome, Italia, hosted by globalist NATO darling. Let's call her the globalist NATO darling, who portrays herself as an Italian patriot, Giorgia Meloni, and she's hosting this recovery event for Ukraine, where the Green Goblin is looking to raise money to keep Project Ukraine going, where the Collective West is looking to raise money to keep Project Ukraine going from various investors, and they are still pushing through with this conference, even though they got the news last week that BlackRock is dropping out of the Ukraine investment game. And Rockck Mertz, quite a speech from Rockck Mertz, saying that that Europe is never giving up. Isn't that what Rockck Mertz said to the audience in attendance, clapping and cheering? Rockck Mertz, we are never giving up. That was his message to Putin. That's right. That was his message to Putin and to Russia. We are never giving up. And then he had a message from Trump, which was to join us. Join us, Trump, so that we can continue to fight Russia. To fight Russia, you must join us, U.S. President Trump. So that was Rockck Mertz's message. And Zelensky also spoke to those in attendance, and he is calling for a type of Marshall Plan for Ukraine. Of course, he wants a Marshall Plan, because he wants a whole lot of money poured into Ukraine. So that was Zelensky's message to everyone in attendance. And the French Defense Minister, Mr. Lecarno, he is drawing a red line. He is announcing a red line to Russia. He is saying that France now has a red line when it comes to Project Ukraine, and that red line is demilitarization. That is what the French defense minister announced the other day. He said, our absolute red line is the demilitarization of Ukraine, the minister said. We must be coherent. One cannot refuse Ukraine entry into NATO and at the same time accept that it no longer has an army, he added. So France's red line when it comes to Project Ukraine is demilitarization. Russia's main objective with the special military operation is demilitarization. So the question is, who can enforce their red lines or their objectives? Russia is enforcing and can absolutely enforce its special military operation objective of demilitarization. No doubt about it that Russia can enforce this, and it is enforcing this objective. Can France enforce their demilitarization red line when it comes to Project Ukraine? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. They have no way to enforce this red line. But they're still saying it. They're still stating that this is where they draw a line in the sand when it comes to Project Ukraine. That's their message to Russia. France will never accept the demilitarization of Ukraine. And before he flew to Rome, Rockck Mertz spoke in the German parliament, and he announced that all diplomacy in and around Project Ukraine has been exhausted. Speaking in the German parliament on Wednesday, Merz claimed that the means of diplomacy are exhausted regarding the conflict, but that he would aim to prevent a Russian victory. We will continue to assist Ukraine, even despite the resistance from the political left and the Russia-friendly right here in the House, the chancellor said, apparently referring to the Alternative for Germany AfD party and the Left Party. So Germany is all in when it comes to Project Ukraine. They're all in when it comes to remilitarizing, right? Germany's been deindustrialized. It's being refinancialized in a way, right? It has no more industry, so now it's going to look at financialization, and it's also trying to build up its military, and it's doing all of this so that it can eventually in the future end up in a smash with Russia, right? That's what Merz is saying. He is all in with some future conflict with Russia. And Merz really doesn't have any other policies when it comes to Germany, to be quite honest. He is singularly focused on Project Ukraine and on building up Germany's military so that eventually in the future, 2, 3, 4, 5 years down the line, Germany can once again end up in some sort of a conflict with Russia. And Merz is being encouraged to do this. He's being encouraged by France to build up Germany's military so that he can end up in a smash with Russia. The UK is encouraging Rockck Mertz. The United States is encouraging Rockck Mertz. When Mertz was in the United States a couple of weeks ago, a reporter asked Trump his thoughts about Germany rebuilding its military to perhaps engage in a conflict with Russia sometime in the future. And Trump, he kind of laughed it off. He really didn't seem too concerned about remilitarized Germany at war again with Russia. So anyway, that's Rockck Mertz. He is all in when it comes to Project Ukraine and in some sort of a future smash with Russia. So the Ukraine Recovery Convention, where are they going to find the money for the Green Goblin now that Rockck is not so hot on the idea of pouring money into Project Ukraine? Well, Zelensky's plan is to sell minerals, rare earth minerals, lithium, stuff like that. Ukraine's minerals fund focus of private investment ahead of major recovery conference. Minerals are the talk of the town ahead of Ukraine's largest reconstruction and recovery conference hosted this year in Rome. This is coming from the Kiev Independent. So what companies, what investors would be crazy enough to invest in Ukraine? Just 2 weeks ago, the Russians captured the biggest lithium deposit in Ukraine, the second lithium deposit that now Russia fully has under its control. Why would any investment company, investment firm, pour money into Ukraine when you run the very high risk, the probability that sometime in the future the Russian military will capture whatever rare earth, mineral, or lithium deposit that you've invested in? Why would you put your money in such a high-risk project? Well, the answer is actually buried in this Kiev Independent article where they interview the CEO of one of these mineral companies. I believe he's the CEO of one of these companies. His name is Brodsky, and he told the Kiev Independent, let me read you what he says here. Despite the uncertainty, Brodsky says, there's been a lot of action behind the scenes between the fund's two developers, Ukraine's Support Public-Private Partnership Agency, the PPP, and the United States International Development Finance Corporation, the DFC. The big game changer, though, is that under the fund, The DFC is able to cover war risk insurance in Ukraine, said Brodsky. While war risk insurance programs do exist in Ukraine, they are few and far between, which deters foreign investors from Ukraine while the war is ongoing. The option to get loans from the fund backed by the DFC creates great appetite in the eyes of investors, he said. Andrei Brodsky is the CEO of Ukrainian titanium company Velta, speaking to the Kiev Independent. So basically, the DFC is, at least it sounds to me like this is some sort of a U.S. Government institution. Is it government? Is it something else? Some sort of NGO or something else? I don't know. But it's a United States insurance entity, which is basically going to provide war risk insurance to the Ukraine recovery funds. So if investors give money to the Green Goblin and then the Russian military in order to purchase some sort of rare earth mine or whatever, rare earth deposits, and they give money to the Green Goblin, and the Russians later on down the line take over that mineral deposit, that rare earth mineral deposit, then that investment, that private investment firm, is insured by this U.S. DFC agency, the United States International Development Finance Corporation. They're insured by the DFC. That's the plan. So, at the end of the day, whatever happens in Project Ukraine, if they keep these rare earth minerals deposits, these lithium mines, or if they lose them to Russia, whatever happens, the investment firms are going to be covered. And if they lose these investments, they're going to be covered by the United States. War risk insurance provided by the USA. That's how it looks to me. So of course they're going to pour money into Project Ukraine if the United States or a US entity has them covered. What a grift, man. What a grift. Oh, man. So, Project Ukraine, what is going on the front lines? Well, the Russian military, they are sending huge amounts of drones into Ukraine on a daily basis. The other day, Russia sent 730 drones into Ukraine. I believe the largest amount of drones that Russia has ever launched into Ukraine. 728 is what I'm reading here from Maria Avdeva, pro-Ukraine X account. Just look at this. Russia launched 728 drones at Ukraine tonight, the most so far. The attacks are escalating. Russia grows bolder with every day and every silence. And you can see the map on your screen right now of all the drones all over Ukraine. 728 drones. It's an incredible number. We're getting reports that that Russia is very close to producing 1,000 drones per day. So basically, sometime in the near future, Russia's going to be launching 1,000 drones, give or take, into Ukraine every single day. And the Trump White House, they're talking about providing Ukraine with 10 Patriot interceptors as Russia launches 1,000 drones into Ukraine every single day in the near future. And after Russia launches the drone strikes, they're then followed by the missiles, which is what really does the damage. The drones deplete whatever air defense is left in Ukraine, and then the missiles come afterwards, which the Ukraine military has admitted that they can't stop the Russian missiles, the Iskanders, the Kinzhal. They're now admitting that that even the Patriot air defense systems are not capable to shoot down the Russian missiles. So they come afterwards and they pretty much hit whatever targets they're aiming for. 1,000 UAVs, geraniums, every single day is what Russia is about to produce. And Trump is talking about 10 interceptors and maybe if he can find a Patriot, a complete Patriot system. He's looking. The United States of America is looking for a Patriot system, a complete Patriot system to send to Ukraine. They're asking around for a Patriot system, and they can barely put together 10 interceptor missiles. So one thing that Trump is going to do in order to stick it to Russia, he is going to approve Lindsey Graham's 500% bone-crushing sanctions. That's right. Lindsey Graham's 500% secondary bone-crushing sanctions on Russian energy and on Russian uranium, of which the United States buys. The United States buys Russian uranium. I believe the United States buys Russian oil as well. So I guess the United States is going to sanction the United States at 500%. Yeah, it does look like Trump is going to move forward with Lindsey Graham's incredibly brilliant idea to stop the Putin war machine. And there's one exception which I talked about yesterday, which is that Trump is asking for full control of these bone-crushing sanctions. He wants to be able to dictate when the sanctions begin and when the sanctions stop. So he wants full control over this Senate initiative. And there are some people in Congress, in the Senate, that don't like this idea of Trump taking full control of what is an idea that has its origins in Congress. Pushkin, Chekhov, Tolstoy. So Trump eventually, the problem with all of this, Trump is trying to kind of have it both ways, right? He's trying to please Lindsey Graham. I don't know why he's trying to please Lindsey Graham, but he is, and he's going along with Lindsey Graham's idea for bone-crushing sanctions. But he's trying to make it so that he'll be able to avoid having to really implement these bone-crushing sanctions, or at least he'll carve out various exceptions and exemptions. For example, he'll say, okay, we're now instituting 500% bone-crushing sanctions on Russia, but we'll exempt the United States, right? Because we buy uranium from Russia. We'll exempt China. We'll exempt India. And that's how Trump is trying to work this. But what will inevitably happen is that the neocons and Lindsey Graham will put pressure on Trump. They're going to say, no, Mr. President, you can't put these exemptions on these sanctions, because if you put these exemptions on our bone-crushing sanctions, then they lose their teeth and they will not be able to fully destroy Putin's war machine. And they're going to put all kinds of pressure on Trump, and they're going to go on to the mainstream media news channels and advocate for the exemptions to be removed that Trump's going to implement in this sanctions plan. And eventually, to make a long story short, eventually Trump is going to back down, because he always backs down to the U.S. foreign policy president known as Lindsey Graham. Politico has an article, Trump is interested in new Russia sanctions, but there's a catch. As support builds behind a bipartisan bill, the White House is seeking changes that would expand the president's control. Lindsey Graham, everybody, running U.S. foreign policy. Trump allowing Lindsey Graham to run U.S. foreign policy, to run it straight into the ground. And putting in place these sanctions, this sanctions package, this 500% tariff, embargo, whatever you want to call it, it's going to completely freak out the markets around the world. It's going to create all kinds of uncertainties. prices are going to rise, even if they're not fully implemented, even if this sanction is not fully implemented. It's going to create the uncertainty where it will create prices to rise. It will create inflation. It's going to make a mess of things. And if it's implemented, look out, man. If Trump decides to go scorched earth and he submits to Lindsey Graham's orders to implement the whole thing, then we're going to have an economic meltdown. It's going to completely submarine Trump's entire economic agenda. And then they're going to blame everything on Trump. And when that happens, the neocons and Lindsey Graham will turn on Trump and they'll blame everything on Trump. But he goes along with it. He goes along with it. No one to blame but himself in this entire mess known as Project Ukraine that he has bogged himself down in. So Rubio is meeting with Lavrov in Kuala Lumpur in Malaysia for the ASEAN conference. Reuters says Rubio to meet Russia's Lavrov in Kuala Lumpur. U.S. and Russia says U.S. Secretary of State Rubio will meet with Russian Foreign Minister Lavrov on the sidelines of the ASEAN Foreign Ministers meeting in Kuala Lumpur on Thursday. The U.S. State Department and Russian Foreign Ministry said it would be the second in-person meeting between Rubio and Lavrov, and comes at a time when U.S. President Donald Trump has grown increasingly frustrated with Russian President Vladimir Putin as the war in Ukraine drags on. So the meeting is actually taking place right now as I am recording this video. So by the time this video is published, maybe we'll get some sort of readout as to what was discussed. But I'm fairly certain that Rubio is going to tell Lavrov, please accept the Kellogg freeze plan. And I'm pretty certain that Lavrov is going to say, why would we accept the Kellogg freeze plan when we are winning and we're winning big? But Secretary of State Rubio, Istanbul Plus root causes is still on the table. Barely. It's barely on the table, but it is still there. We encourage you to tell Zelensky to accept root causes Istanbul Plus before the 4 territories turn into 8. That is what Lavrov is going to tell Rubio. So let's shift gears now, and we'll continue to walk now that we cooled down a bit underneath this beautiful tree. So let's get walking. So we'll shift gears and we'll talk about Ursula Vandermath. And she had the no confidence vote in the EU Parliament, and she won. Ursula is not being voted out as European Union Commissioner, as was expected. Everyone expected her to win the no confidence vote, but she has been significantly weakened. She has been significantly weakened, and the alleged corruptions, and I say alleged because, well, we still don't have the text messages from her and Burla, but all of these accusations, they're now front and center. Everyone sees the games that Ursula is playing behind the scenes. A lack of transparency from the European Commissioner, and she still refuses to give up the text messages as she was negotiating. The jab with Big Pharma. But she will remain commissioner for a little while longer, even though Viktor Orban is now on the offensive. Orban is posting all kinds of interesting things on X. For example, he posted an image of Vandermath with a red background, and she seems to be walking away. The image says, "Time to go." Orban also highlighted all of Vandermath's L's. He listed them all out on X. European competitiveness in ruins, European energy prices through the roof, illegal migration out of control, gender ideology mandatory, war in Ukraine meat grinder, European farmers on the brink, mindless green ideology at its peak. He could probably list another 5 or 10 things on this post, more of Ursula's incompetence. Boy, she's been awful. She has been awful, Ursula Vandermath. Well, awful for the world, but I guess you could make the argument that she's been good for globalists and good for the military-industrial complex, and good for big pharma. So, I think I saw a Lamborghini. Was that a Lamborghini? Yeah, I think that was a Lamborghini. So Ursula tweeted posted on X a couple of days ago on Bulgaria entering the euro, getting the euro currency. She said, Bulgaria, the euro is coming. On 1 January 2026, Bulgaria will become our 21st Eurozone country. This means more than just a new currency. It is a real achievement. The euro will strengthen Bulgaria's economy and bring big benefits for Bulgarian people and businesses. I feel sorry for Bulgaria. You're going to get the euro. Tough times are coming. A lot of tough times are coming. Yeah, it's going to be good, the euro. For the Bulgarian politicians and the Bulgarian oligarchs, it's going to be really good. For the people of Bulgaria, I expect prices to increase by minimum 10%, and I'm being very generous. Most likely you're going to see an overnight increase in prices by about 30 to 40%. In Greece, when we got the euro a long time ago, which we did not deserve to get into the euro, we messed around with the books in order to enter the euro, the eurozone. And overnight, prices pretty much doubled, man. It was pretty shocking to wake up one morning and to see prices be twice as much. It was crazy stuff. So that is Ursula talking about Bulgaria entering the euro. So let's move on. And will we get to a clown world, or do we have any more stories? So France, they detained a Russian basketball player in the airport on orders from the United States, and it looks like they're going to extradite this basketball player, Daniil Kasavkin. They say that he's being accused of being a part of a ransomware gang, like part of a hacker group or something like that is what they're accusing him of. The U.S. and the U.S. told France to detain him, arrest him. He was in Paris, or going to Paris, with I believe his fiancée for a holiday. And the message in this story is stay away from Paris, man. Jeez, man. Pavel Durov, this guy, this basketball player. What is going on in France, man? What is going on in France with Macron? So what I think is happening here is the U.S. government is pulling a Brittany Griner, right? A retaliation for Brittany Griner. That's what I think is going on. And you know what Russia's going to do? They're going to play it very cool and very calm. And eventually they'll get their retaliation on the United States. They're going to play the long game, and eventually they'll get their retaliation. Who knows who they will snap up, but that's how this game is going to unfold. Russia always remains calm. Actually, Peskov was asked to comment on Trump's tirade against Putin the other day, where he said that, I talked about this in my video update yesterday, where he said that Putin is giving the United States all kinds of BS, that he's a BSer. And Peskov was asked to comment about this, and he said, all is cool. He says, we remain calm because we understand how Trump is. That's what he said. We understand who we're dealing with. Everything is calm. That was Peskov's comment. So tariffs on Brazil, 50% tariffs on Brazil. Then we'll get to a clown world. That is what Trump is looking to do. We're building a lot of stuff around here, huh? 50% tariffs on Brazil, and this has nothing to do, in my opinion, nothing to do with trade, or not much to do with trade. This is political. Tariffs have been weaponized now. A responsible government, an adult government, would not weaponize tariffs. They would use tariffs as a tool in order to rebuild their economy, to rebuild industry, and they would make adult, sensible decisions as to how to use tariffs to achieve those goals. That would be what an adult government would do. But we're not dealing with an adult government. We're dealing with a government that weaponizes everything from sanctions to the US dollar to collective West institutions. And now they are weaponizing tariffs. And a couple of days ago, Trump posted about Bolsonaro, very upset with Brazil and Lula and Bolsonaro, very upset about BRICS and the fact that Brazil is hosting BRICS. And what was Trump's response to all of this? To weaponize tariffs and place a 50% tariff on Brazil. Might as well make it 100%. Might as well make it 200%. Once you get to levels of 30, 40, 50%, why stop there? just go higher and higher. It makes no difference. So we can now do a clown world, right? We can do some clown worlds. And we will start off with today's clown world, showing a photo of the U.S. Foreign Policy President, Lindsey Graham, and the U.S. President, Donald J. Trump, together playing golf. Donald Trump posted on Truth Social, "Happy birthday to Senator Lindsey Graham. He is always there when I need him, and I hope everyone in the great state of South Carolina will help Lindsey have a big win in his re-election bid next year. Make America great again." Let's cross. So that's Trump posting about Lindsey Graham, wishing Lindsey Graham a happy birthday. He is always there when I need him. He's just digging a bigger and bigger hole. Just keep on digging, Trump, keep on digging. For which Lindsey Graham replied to Trump's birthday wishes, saying, "Thank you, Mr. President. This means a great deal to me. I love being in the fight with you to save our country. You are the right man at the right time for our nation and the world." Save our country, Lindsey Graham, or destroy our country, Lindsey Graham? I think he means destroy our country. That's what Lindsey Graham really means. Trump also endorsed Tom Cotton, another neocon warmonger, Tom Cotton. He endorsed him as well via Truth Social yesterday. So Trump is morphing into a neocon. That's my take on things. Maybe he always was a neocon, but I don't remember him in his first term as being very neocon-ish. He actually said he's going to take on the neocons when he was in Saudi Arabia a couple of months ago. Didn't he say that he's going to take on the neocons or stop all the neocon wars? It looks like he stared into the abyss, and the abyss said, "Come here, you're one of us now." Yeah, he's gone full neocon. He's aligned with Graham and Cotton and Kellogg. Anyway, that's his birthday wish to Lindsey Graham. You're always by my side when I need you, Lindsey. What else? Politico is saying that vodka production is plummeting in Russia. Western sanctions hit the beverage sector. I wonder if this has anything to do with the potatoes, though vodka is mostly made from grain, isn't it? Some vodka can be made from potatoes. Some vodka is made from potatoes. I believe vodka in Poland is made from potatoes, or a very popular Polish vodka brand uses potatoes. But most brands use grain, I believe. Anyway, Telegraph was talking about Russia's potato shortage, and now Politico is talking about Russia's vodka shortage. Basically, year on year, vodka production has dropped by 10%. But demand for vodka year on year has grown by 10%, and Politico is saying that this is the beginning of the end for Putin's economy. That's right. They're low on potatoes. They're low on vodka. Russia's economy's in tatters. Tater totters, tatters, tater tot tatters. Russia's economy, no vodka, no potatoes. What will Russia do? So, Trump was meeting with the leader of Liberia, and he was very impressed with his English. Where did you learn such good English? And the leader of Liberia was was saying, Mr. President, well, English is our official language. Yeah, Trump isn't aware of Liberia's history, is he? Anyway, that was an interesting exchange. And finally, we have Rockck. Rockck going crazy, huh? Rockck going crazy. Becoming, what did Rockck become? Mecca or something? Mecca Mustache Man? Mecca Hitler? I'm not even sure what that means, Mecca. I think it's some video game or something like that. But Rockck was undergoing an update. And in the update, they wanted Rockck to be more right-leaning or something like that, to tell more truth or be more right-leaning. And something happened with the update and the code, and Rockck morphed into this mustache man figure. But there's a lot of people covering this story, so I'm not going to get into the details of this. But what is happening is that now the European Union is using what has happened to Rockck as an excuse for more control and more censorship. So the European Union is saying, you see what happens when we leave big tech unsupervised? This is the reason that we are giving to put more control on big tech so that we can avoid situations like what we are seeing with AI Rockck at the moment. So that's going to be the outcome of all of this. There's a lot of people analyzing this whole incident, and they're talking about it and how this affects Musk and how this happened and what it means and all these things. I'm telling you what the result of all of this is going to be. The result of all of this is going to be more censorship and a push for more control by governments. That's what's going to happen because of this Rockck incident. Anyway, that is the video. theduran.locals.com. We are on Rumble, Odyssey, BitChute, Telegram, Rockfin, and X. Go to the Duran shop. Pick up some merch, like what I'm wearing in this video update, the flag of Greece. And I will see everybody tomorrow. Take care.